Welcome. Today in this episode, I have Sherry Mateg here, and we are going to be consulting about her business that she is passionate about launching and getting started. Sherry is a really special guest because she used to have fibromyalgia, and which is like a disease that has so much chronic fatigue and inflammation and exhaustion where there's just constant pain, and she was able to really free herself from that constant exhaustion. She was able to lose 168 pounds through this process of going on her health and wellness journey. The peak that she was at was 298 pounds and down to 130, and she has been so much healthier, more vibrant. She's one of the most energetic people that I have met, and now she wants to take her passion that she's learned about overcoming the inflammation, changing her diet, lifestyle, nutrition, and be able to share that with the lives of other people. Glad to have you here, Sherry.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So in your business, some of the things you've been working on is you have been connecting with those with fibromyalgia. You want to basically coach those who have that constant chronic fatigue and exhaustion, and you want to help them understand the principles of like inflammation and nutrition and even a plant-based diet of how they can rid themselves from that. Am I right?
Yes.
So what are some of the things that you have done so far, or let me ask this, what would you say is your number one biggest challenge in your health education business so far in getting this started?
I would say making connections with people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And what have you done so far to make connections with people?
I've gone to some Facebook groups online, and tried interacting with people, and have had people comment, and been trying to make friends with them. So yeah.
That's great. So you found Facebook groups that are like fibromyalgia support groups, and you've been connecting in the comments and posting and sharing things that could connect with your ideal clients.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. So when you want to connect with people, what kind of people are you looking to connect with?
People that are open to God and want to, be free of pain and be fed up with the medical industry and want to do things naturally.
Awesome. That's good. And there's lots and lots of people who are open to God, open to learning health on biblical principles, and realize that the stuff that they've been getting from the doctors is not really working for them, and they're looking for alternative ways of healing. So that's awesome. And so in connecting with them, one of the best ways, there's two ways that you can find clients who will pay you for your health advice. Is number one, you can go out and chase the clients. You can go search for them, seek them out, and go. And I liken this kind of like your ideal client has fibromyalgia. They're constantly in pain. They're fatigued. They're praying to God probably for energy, strength, for a solution, and they don't know where to turn. And they're kind of like a sailor that is lost at sea, and they're stuck, and they have no idea how to get to the safe harbor, and they're at risk of shipwreck. So you can go seek, and you can go search this endless sea for them, and go chase down these ideal clients, which is like finding a needle in a haystack. Or you can do what I like to call creating a lighthouse, becoming a lighthouse, as Jesus said, "Let your light shine." And you're a light of the city that is set on the hill. You're the light of the world, and that light is knowledge. And by setting yourself up as a lighthouse, then these sailors are able to see your light, and they come to you. So now you're no longer chasing your clients, you're attracting your clients. You become a magnet. How would you like to be a magnet of fibromyalgia, individuals with fibromyalgia, so that they're, instead of like you going down and sending them all the friend requests and hunting them throughout Facebook, they're coming to you every day, every week, sending you friend requests because you have this lighthouse content. Does that sound like something that is desirable?
That sounds ideal.
Awesome. When I first got started with creating the lighthouse content, or building my network of people that I'm seeking to serve, what I started doing was recording videos where, like, the reality is you already have hundreds of thousands of people who are looking to buy what you have to sell, what you have to offer. There's already people with fibromyalgia who are seeking for what you desire to offer, but the only problem is they don't know you exist yet. So what you want to do is make yourself findable, and one of the best ways to make yourself findable is by creating this lighthouse content through videos, through a book, through through writing or speaking on other people's platforms. So some of the ways you can do that is through creating content on your platform and other people's. I found, like, and video is king right now. People are really looking for videos. When it comes to, when you think about like recording video content, have you done it in the past? What do you see is the greatest challenge with when you think about you recording video? What are the hindrances that come to mind?
Probably, I'm afraid that I will really mess up and stumble and like get tongue-tied and yeah.
That makes sense. And would you say like speaking to a lens or a camera feels uncomfortable or unnatural, or it's easy to forget what you're going to say when you're just like talking to a camera?
I think that would be more uncomfortable for me than actually talking to someone.
Great.
Because when I'm talking to someone, I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at the person.
Yeah. I think you're...
I find the camera intimidating when I'm looking at it.
Most people do. It's just like this soulless electronic eye that's kind of constantly staring at you. And yeah, I hear you. And when I first started creating content when I was 17, I guess that was 12 years ago now, wow. One thing that really helped me, I wanted to record some videos direct to camera, and it was uncomfortable, like you said, and I wasn't used to it, and so I would stumble, I would fumble. I wasn't a public speaker. I played a lot of video games, so I didn't really do a lot of communication stuff or public speaking things. So I didn't know anything about creating headlines or hooks or content framework steps, listicles. I didn't get any of that stuff. So one thing that I started that actually worked really well is I would invite my friends who would come and they would listen to, or like sometimes I get on, it was Skype back then, but today we use Zoom. We're on a Zoom call now, and it's so much easier, like you said, to talk to a person. And like, do you currently talk to anyone or encourage anyone over the phone and you talk to them about their health or about God? Do you text people about health and share with them principles?
Or messaging.
Okay. Yeah, so I did a lot of messaging when I was just getting started, and I would share with people insights, things that I was learning, and find that someone has a question that I had like a few months ago or a few years ago, and I learned it and I was sharing with them and they'd get all excited. And so what I learned to do is take those people that I was currently texting and say, hey, would you like to get on a video call together and we can have a discussion with each other? And they would be like, yeah, because people enjoyed the interaction. And what I ended up doing was getting on Skype, we'd record the video, and we would just have a conversation with each other. Sometimes we'd pick a topic and just discuss together about it, or they would have questions. And a lot of times they had questions they were asking me, and I was like, well, turn with me to this Bible verse, or and I'd share the insights that I would find. And then a lot of times I record those videos, and that's what I would put online. Or sometimes I have a framework or an outline. I'm like, hey, I want to record a video. I did this with my friend Michael. Michael found my YouTube videos, and he watched one of the videos, thought it was really impactful, sent me a friend request on Skype, and then we got on video calls, and he's totally down to record it, and he had so many questions. So we would record those videos, and then you could post them. And then sometimes, like, I wanted to speak. One time I remember very specifically, I had an outline. I had like 10 talking points I wanted to cover, and I had a whiteboard and everything. I went to record, and I hit record, and I like stopped it. I hit record, and then I like paused. I'm like, oh wait, I start and stop like 5 times, and I had no video at the end of it. I'm like, what do I do? It's like, I want to record the videos, I want to create content, impact people's lives, but this is so embarrassing. And that's what you do? Oh, so I'm not the only one. So I ended up calling up Michael. I said, Michael, would you be willing to do me a favor? He's like, what's up? Would you be willing to get on Skype? Just like, you don't even have to say anything. Just get on video call so I can look at you and I can teach you this study that I want to do, this topic that I want to talk about, and would you be my audience for this video? And he met me through video, so he's fully supportive of like recording more YouTube videos, and he likes it. He's like, yeah, I would totally do that. So even if like he wasn't the audience that I was seeking to reach, he was willing to support me just by seeing his face, and I could talk to him. He was engaged, and he liked the topic. He's taking notes. He's listening. He's like, you see his facial expression, so you don't feel like you're talking to a screen. You're talking to a person.
Right.
How does that sound to you?
That sounds good.
Do you like, who do you know that would be willing to, even if you told them like, hey, I want to record a video, would you be willing to get on a video and you could just stay muted, but just like have your camera on so I could see you? I tried doing it with a stuffed animal because before Michael, yeah, I know, right? Because I heard that like sometimes they get the kids to be like, smile, look at the little duck, and then it's like, say cheese. And I'm like, well, maybe if I talked to a stuffed animal, it would help. No, it didn't help. That didn't help at all. That felt weird. So then I was like, Michael, I need your help. And he was totally willing to do it. And those videos got thousands of views. Wow. Just by like recording in my mother's living room on a video call with my friend who was muted.
Wow.
So that's one approach that you can do, is get a friend, someone who's supportive, a relative. I mean, I did that with my mother sometimes. I'm like, Mom, can you just like sit on the couch or something? And then I put the camera on a tripod behind the couch. It was right above her head. So then I could talk where I had a whiteboard. This is like 12 years ago. And then I would talk to my mother, but I'm looking at her, and a few inches the camera is right above her head behind the couch. So that worked well, and those videos got thousands of views. And I had people from internationally watching these, worldwide influence, that were now commenting and engaging. And then some of those people, I remember there was someone, her name was Brittany, and she's like, wow, this is really powerful, I like this. And anyone who commented, this is a key, when you find people that comment and they like the message, chances are there's something that resonates with them. So then I'd say, I'm glad you liked the video. Hey, by any chance, would you like to get on a video call and then we can discuss some similar themes? And most of them, like, I don't recall really ever getting turned down that I can think of. But a lot of those people would be totally willing to get on a Zoom call, and then we did it on Skype, and then later it was Google Hangouts, and then Zoom. But we'd get on a video call, and Brittany didn't have a lot of questions, but she was very curious, and she was very expressive. She's like, wow. She's like, really? This is so cool. And like seeing her light up made me light up, because like even seeing you smile, it's just like, oh, something's resonating. And then I'd have more energy to share. And so we did so many videos. And what we ended up doing too, which this could help you be consistent with accountability, a lot of times we're willing to do for others what we wouldn't do for ourselves. Sometimes you can, like with Brittany, I was like, hey, what if we get together once a week and we just record a video? And I did that like once a week for a few people in the beginning. And it's like in health consultation, it could just be like you're giving consultations, or you're coaching, or you're just sharing something of value, or you're learning, and as you're learning something new, you're just like, oh, you know what I learned about this? Or you're sharing a story, and then you share that story with your group. And I would have these weekly calls with them, and you can decide however many you want to do, like how much content you want to create, your life, responsibilities, where you're at, what season. You get to determine, like a Slinky, you could stretch or shrink on your schedule, however many you want to fit. Just decide how many times do I want to teach and impact people's lives with my health message a week, and just pick that. And if you want to do it 3 times a week, then just share. Then get like 3 people to commit to once a week. Hey, can we get on and we can talk about health together? And it could be 20 minutes, it could be 30 minutes, it could be 15 if you want, but you could just like talk together about a subject. That was helpful. And then because I know that she had questions that I was addressing that I thought she would be very interested in learning. And what I did is I created like an outline or a framework. I was creating my frameworks, testing a framework, following a process. So I identified, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on week 1 we just covered week 1. Week 2 we just covered week 2, and we just kind of like went through different topics. So for you it might be like, well, let's talk about inflammation. What is inflammation? Why does it matter? How does it affect fibromyalgia? And why are we so tired? And then you have a conversation about inflammation one day. And then the next week you have a conversation about energy, exhaustion, how you can be grateful, how gratitude is the antidote for exhaustion. And then it's like you could have like a whole conversation on gratitude. But what I would do is I would make a list of like the topics that you like, or that you could have a conversation about, enjoy it. And then you've got like, I think I had like 28 topics that I went through. You don't have to do 28, but even if you had 10, then you just know like week after week you're going to go with them. And as you go through it, and honestly, a lot of my videos were the same 28 lessons that I taught with like 15 different people, and we went through the same 28 lessons, and we recorded the video, because their questions, their comments, their expression, even the way that I shared, even though it was the same structure, the same outline, like all 15 different people I did it with, our conversation was different. The outcome was different. The process even was different. And like I learned more, so I might have shared it slightly different, but the structure was there. And I wasn't always like, what do I create? What topics do I do? I just look at what are the problems that they have, what questions do they have, and let's address that. What do I think would benefit them? And let's talk about that. And I just thought about it in advance, and we discussed it with their permission. They're totally fine with getting it, doing a call, and these conversations are so much easier. And does that sound doable?
I think so, yeah.
What part?
Just being able to get a friend or family member to be able to just sit there and listen, or if there's, something they're interested in, share what I know about it or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then some of those friends, if you know they're interested in a particular topic, you can give them a few options. And even like before this video, we talked about, well, here's 4 options that we could talk about. Which one interests you the most? And they're like, oh, I really like this. And you're like, I want to know how to connect with more people that have fibromyalgia. So the best way I know how to connect, like I've built more friendships. I have thousands of friends on Facebook, and those friends came through content that I create, videos.
Yeah, videos.
And these with fibromyalgia will be coming to you. So you go from like being like the annoying pest who's always chasing to being a welcomed guest, where now you're the authority, the light, you are the service provider, you are the giver of good news, and people they're attracted to that light, which is really cool. And then you know what happened? One of those videos with Brittany, I was doing it, and there's a YouTuber who had like over 200,000 subscribers. He got on there and he commented, "Brilliant! I love the teachings of this young lad." And I was like, wow, this guy with over 200,000 subscribers, he's watching my videos. How cool is that? And I commented, I said, hey, well, if you love the teachings of this video, how would you like to recommend people subscribe to my channel on your recommended featured channels? And he commented, I'll do even better than that. How about we get on a video call and we can do a call together, and then I'll post it on my channel and tell all my subscribers to go subscribe to you. I was like,
wow, that's pretty cool.
That's so cool. And so literally the same format that I was doing with Brittany, like a call like we're doing together, that's what I ended up doing with Tiger Dan, the YouTuber, and we got on there. I didn't know what to expect, but he just drilled me with questions. There's like frequently asked questions, and I was giving him some answers, and they were really impressive. I was 19, I was a teenager at the time, and I was just answering them all, and he thought it was very insightful. He liked it a lot. Instantly, it had like tens of thousands of viewers in it. And he said, go subscribe to Enoch. I've been watching his content, and I really like it. He's a brilliant young lad, and I recommend all of my subscribers to listen to his videos. And then, you know what happened the day that it released? My subscribers, I got hundreds of subscribers the first day. The second day, I got a little bit less, but it was still hundreds of subscribers. And then the next day, it was a little less, and it trickled for like a week or 2 weeks. There's a spike of subscribers. So what I learned from that, and what you can learn from this, is one, having conversations with people is easy. If you don't have a problem having conversations or coaching people, talking about health topics and enthusiastically sharing what you know, you don't have to worry about, like when you're speaking, you're not like, oh, am I saying it the right way? Or did I fumble? Or did I say that? Like, even if I do say something funny, something I didn't mean, we can both laugh about it together. And that's just part of the conversation. So it's not as stressful to just like talk to a lens, right? So
you just speak from the heart.
Yeah. And I found too that my energy is so much better when I talk to people. My stories are so much better when I talk to people than just talking to a camera. Still to this day, I do better with conversations than direct to camera stuff. And then not only do those conversations on your platform, and you'll reach more people with fibromyalgia. Do it on other people's platforms too, and look for ways you can have conversations, interviews, talks with other people on their platforms. One thing that's really helpful that you can do is we talked about, I could actually show you here. If you were going to go to Amazon and,
Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon.
Okay.
You're like, what? I was not expecting that. If you go to Amazon and you search for books, then you could type in, I wouldn't type in fibromyalgia because those are going to be like more direct competitors, but you think about something like we talked about sugar, right? So you could type about sugar. We went to books, so it's only going to show you authors who teach about sugar. And then, so this is blood sugar balance. I don't know what that is. A different. Sugar Blues, William Duffy. But that was written in 1986, so that was a while ago. I'm not sure where he'd be. That sounds like a cool book. I know. What's her name? Australian Barbara O'Neill. She really likes that book. Sweet Stuff Transformed Our Politics, Health, and Environment. Sugar Crush. We're looking for, look at this. There you go. Sugar Crush. How to reduce inflammation, reverse nerve damage, and reclaim good health. This is a topic where they're talking about sugar, and you found by not eating so much sugar helps to, with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and regulating your energy.
It helps get rid of inflammation too when you cut the sugar out.
Exactly, and that's exactly what they're talking about. So what you can do is you can find the author here, and there's two of them. What you can do is you can copy this, go over to Bing, and just paste their name. And what you want to do is you want to look for a name. I'll probably need to search one at a time. You could look for their name, and it looks like that person Extremity Health Centers, maybe. He won the Phoenix, so it looks like this is a doctor in Phoenix. Yeah, there you go. So what you could do, potentially, a lot of people who write books also, people who write books tend to like talking about the subject. And if you were to reach out to this doctor, and we found his website, and you can go, he's in Scottsdale, he has different offices, he even has podcasts, look at that. So people who speak on podcasts. So if you see an author who is being featured on other podcast episodes or owns an episode, who owns a podcast, chances are they're willing to speak on your podcast. So now he's got a podcast, The Awesome Health Podcast, where you could, and he's got a website. That's kind of cool. So what I would do is I would look for contact, or you might be able to use that phone number, look for an email, and here's Bio Optimizers. There you go, support at Bio Optimizers. Unless this is someone else's podcast, but I think it's his. Oh, look, the MS, fibromyalgia, ALS, connection to sugar. So, see how simple that is? Oh, I gotta show your face with that. That was perfect. I didn't have your face on the video, but what we see here is I gotta cut this again. So he helps with fibromyalgia and its connection to sugar. And he talks about sugary drinks and sodas. This guy's name is Dr. Richard. Woohoo! Let me get rid of this. Well, it's the author of Our Doctor. There we go. So his name is Dr. Richard Jacoby.
Jacoby?
Yeah.
Okay.
So beyond just him, that sounds like a cool lead, but what I would do is, like, what you can easily do is just email. He gives you the email on his website. Notice what we did. We went to Amazon. We filtered by books. We found an author that talks kind of about what you want to emphasize, and then we Googled, or we searched their name, looked for their personal brand or their company website. Sometimes it's going to say richardjacoby.com. So we look for their website and then look for contact information. 5 steps. And you do that, and when you email them, you just say, hey, I've got a podcast, and we help people with, our target audience are those who have fibromyalgia. And I love that you wrote a book on and it's called, let's see what Amazon calls it. It's called Sugar Crush. I love that you wrote a book about reducing inflammation, reversing nerve damage with eliminating sugar, or addressing the sugar connection to fibromyalgia. And I would love to have you interviewed. I would love to feature you and your book on my podcast. I think my audience would greatly value from hearing your message. Is it okay if would you be open to having a quick conversation where I can promote your company, your business, and your book to my audience? Would that be okay with you? And you see how we phrase it like that? I want to promote your book to my audience. And lots of authors are totally willing to get on a podcast. Like if you say you got a podcast, most people aren't going to ask well, how many listeners do you have? Most authors would just be like, great, sure, yeah. Tell me when, here's my availabilities. And it's actually a very easy process. You can get a hold of multimillionaires, world-renowned health experts. You can get a hold of very highly successful mentors in whatever subject you want to know. And if you you're talking about sugar, but you're guiding the conversation towards fibromyalgia, you don't have to just reach out to people who have fibromyalgia, if you reach out to the experts who have a knowledge of stories and expertise, have frameworks that can benefit listeners with fibromyalgia, then you just hop on a call, a Zoom call, you have the conversation, record it, and you're good to go.
Cool.
Does that sound doable?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can go to something that can be helpful as well. If there's any parts of this that you want to do, you can go over to YouTube. It's a website called YouTube transcript.com.
Okay.
And you can take this YouTube video from our conversation here, and you just punch in whatever YouTube video you've got and hit go. And you can literally get any part. So this is just a random TED Talk, but let's say you took our video, our conversation now. You put it into here, and now you've got the exact script that I just gave you. You can jump straight there. And you can just copy and paste, modify into the email, and now you know the 5 steps.
On YouTube?
Yeah, it's YouTubetranscript.com.
Okay.
Yeah, this will give you the video transcript for any YouTube video. It's publicly available.
Wow.
Is that helpful?
Cool.
Cool. So I would recommend, like, if I were going to do it differently, I would definitely have interviewed more people who are experts on that field. And what that does for you is when you talk to these doctors, these authors, and really that was just one example for Amazon, but I show you the 5 steps. You can rinse and repeat those results, and you can load your calendar. If you want to do an interview a week, you can fill your calendar with experts on topics. So one would be on sugar, one would be on inflammation, one could be on hydration and water, one could be on exercise, how exercise affects fibromyalgia, and how do you exercise when you always feel in pain and exhausted. One could be on the nervous system, one could be on like the brain, neuro-based science, and someone who studied how the mind and fibromyalgia connection is. And you could just talk to different people who either have a story or have a message, have a book. Authors are some fantastic people to interview, and who are very quick and willing to speak about those topics. And what's really powerful about this is you could interview people you're actually interested in talking with, mentors you actually want to learn from. You can ask them questions that like when you have a podcast, a reporter's platform, you can have conversations. Like I interviewed Myron Golden, who charges $35,000 an hour for a coaching session, but I got to ask him all of my questions for an hour. That's the $35,000 that people have paid him and pay him, but I was able to do that. Why? Because I got a podcast, because I have a show, and because he wants access to my audience, and my audience wants access to his mind. I'm able to give my audience his insights, and I'm able to give him access to a broader audience that he didn't have, and then it's like it's a good strategic partnership. And then and I'm asking him things I'm actually interested in learning, and then you can open the door. You can have access to New York Times bestselling authors, very successful health experts, and then you just recognize patterns. You look for leaders or masters at recognizing patterns and utilizing patterns. And when people talk about things with fibromyalgia, you want to notice the similarities, notice the tips and overlap. They might say the same thing worded slightly different, or you collect little bits in here, and then you can say, when I interviewed Dr. Richard on who's the author of the book Sugar, on sugar, one of the things he said was, and now you can borrow his credibility as you build your credibility. You don't have to be a doctor of fibromyalgia to go help people who have fibromyalgia. You can quote the doctors, the experts, the authorities that you're interviewing here, and so you're not only getting to know the disease better, you're understanding its cause, prevention, and cure. You are connecting with strategic partners in your industry, who some of these can open up to affiliate, like strategic partnerships, referrals, or maybe you speaking on their podcast. If you interview them on your podcast, then you could say, hey, like I'm also available for speaking on podcasts. You can ask them, who else do you know that you think would be a good fit for my podcast? You ask for referrals. And would you be open to making an introduction for us, like a quick email? And if they had a good experience, then they could go further. So by doing that, you're going to get endless amount of content. If speaking to a camera is difficult, even if it's not, if you desire to learn, if you desire to earn while you learn, then learning how to have these conversations can be very powerful for establishing yourself as a credible source in that field, and you're able to build more relationships with people. Does that sound good?
Okay.
So what part of what we've talked about so far have you found to be the most helpful that you see yourself putting into practice?
I liked how you went on Amazon and just typed in sugar, and you were able to find Richard. That was amazing.
Yeah, and that was just on the first search results, and there's so many more people. And you don't even just have to have one video on sugar. You can interview 5 authors on sugar. So much more. There's lots of opportunities. So do you feel that you're more equipped, more certain, that more clear on how you can create some content and start becoming a lighthouse, a beacon of hope and healing for those with fibromyalgia, to start connecting with more, attracting more of those ideal clients now than before?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, then how about we close right here, and I think we covered some good stuff. And for those who are watching, I want to share that if you are interested in having a consultation call like what we did and discuss your business, come up with some possibilities for attracting more clients, converting more, maybe fine-tuning your signature speech, or creating content that converts, anything about growing a successful health coaching business online, then let me know in the comments, and we can discuss how you could possibly be featured in one of these videos, and we can dig deep into your business. I'm going to be opening my calendar for a few slots to create more videos like that. I used to do it a lot more years ago, but I'm going to start doing it more also. And for those who like the format, let me know in the comments if the format, you enjoyed this, if you learned from Sherry's questions, her experience, and our conversation. Let us know if you'd like to have more videos like this, but subscribe, and until next time, remember, God doesn't call it qualified, He qualifies it called.